Hey, Tony Gas is here. Want to pop in. You know, I had to use my free time when I'm riding or doing whatever to shoot a video, just because if I'm working on something else, course or something like that, throughout the day, I don't really get to shoot. But, you know, I still get a lot of requests from women. It's typically women who just kind of passing by the channel, and maybe they watch a video or two, and then they're like, hey, I seen this video for me. You know, where's the video for the man? And for those of you who have been here for a while, you've already heard me say this and you realize this, but I want to remind you that nobody will have a greater influence in a man's life than a woman. That's why I titled my last book, A Woman's Influence, because it's that important. It means that much. And nobody will have a greater influence. When you think about it, men lean on women. Like, men lean on women. If you're a woman and you're watching this, there are some women who say, you know, I don't like my boyfriend's friend, talking about his guy friend. But you rarely hear that. What you typically hear, uh-oh, my wife always be talking to me about being nosy, but I like to see me a little something now. I like to see me a little something. What they got going on now? It was a wreck. And then I seen somebody hop out their car and seen somebody else hop out their car, and they real animated. And somebody one of the guys throwing up his hands. So I thought they were about to fight. Give me a little, y'all forgive me now. Y'all gotta forgive me. I like to give me a little eyeful every now and then. Being people business, but you know what I mean? You just never know if somebody finna shoot or something, and now you need to be a witness. Cause me, I'm a snitch quick. I'm about justice, doing the right thing. So listen, do something you ain't supposed to do now. Hit and run. And if I could catch that tag number, I'm snitching. No, you gotta do stuff right. We living righteous. We doing the right thing. And so when you think about it, 9 out of 10 times when a woman gets with a man, if she has problems with somebody in his life, who is it typically that he's listening to, that he gives power or influence in his life? His mama, his baby mama, his ex-girlfriend, or his sister. Typically, a woman is going to have problems with another woman in her man's life. These women have the influence to get in his head and for him to listen to them and for him to allow them to be a voice in his life. And now, when you think about this, who did Adam listen to over God? Eve. Who did Samson listen to and let get close to him? Who did Samson let get close to him? Delilah. Esther. Read the book of Esther and look at the power that Esther had, the influence she had over the king. She was able to commit offenses that any other that you're supposed to be killed for when you approach the king's quarters without being called. And so when you start to look back and you look over time, remember Helen and Troy, or what that was called, that we studied in school, to where it was Greek mythology, I think, and they were fighting over, or Helen of Troy, or whatever it's called. They was fighting over Helen. Was they fighting over Helen, like two countries? fighting over a woman. It's like women have influence, and this is the thing. The devil know women have influence. The devil know women have influence. The devil know it. So when he wanted to do work, a lot of times the devil would go through the woman. When they wanted to get Samson power, he went through Delilah. When he wanted to it wasn't her influence, but what did David do? King David, man after God's own heart, saw Bathsheba bathing and looking at that boot out there in that water. David lost his mind and had Uriah put on the front line in battle so that he could be killed, so David could have Bathsheba. She was out there bathing in that old water. Water probably gave her a ringworm. Gave her a ringworm, and David called on up there to his quarters. I need women to understand the power, the influence. A lady said to me one time, Tony, men have power, women have influence. I said, whoo. And what she meant by that is, I don't know what she meant by it, but what it mean to me is we'll put a man in power. We'll make the man the president of the country. But it'll be the woman whispering in his ear that get him to pass the bills he passed. The man will be the chief of police, but his speech is written by his wife. The man will be the principal of the high school, but it's really the woman that's the assistant principal that's coming up with all the genius ideas. A lot of times, let me tell you, do you know how many business deals have been solved? How many boardroom meetings have been written by a prostitute? Because the CEO or the Fortune 500 company was with his stripper, his prostitute, his mistress, talking to her about his stress, pillow talking. Listen, the toughest men, the most dangerous men in the world were set up to be killed by their mistress or by their woman that they cheated on. Every man's weakness is a woman. Every man's weakness is a woman. Like, it's so much that I know I should do, but my wife's happiness will have me doing something foolish that I shouldn't be doing, because sacrifice could be painful. So I remember a lot of times to where I needed to make a sacrifice, but because I didn't want to ask my wife to sacrifice in that area, to go without in that area, I'd do something stupid, you know, max out a credit card, rob Peter to pay Paul, go broke, to just not, so my wife wouldn't have to feel strain, so she wouldn't have to feel stress, so she wouldn't have to feel the financial pressure that I was feeling. I'll make something out of nothing. I'll make something happen. I have something that I absolutely love, that I bought out of a check or out of a good season, and I absolutely love it, and I will sell it to have the money for my wife's birthday. For my wife, you know, my wife's birthday coming up this month. I might sell one of my watches that is a very rare watch, just to have extra money to bless my wife with it, because I love her that much, because I'd rather my unhappiness for her happiness. Her happiness will make me happy, so I can't even call it unhappiness, but I'd rather sacrifice and give up something to add a smile to her face, even though it's fleeting. And I say that to say, women have more influence in a man's life than men. It's the truth. And that's what you got to realize. It's like this right here. When you see these guys go pro as an athlete or a rapper, what they do? They buy their mama a house. Mama, I love you. I done seen men get on the stage and say, Mama, I love you. And they daddy sitting in the stands too. They daddy sitting out there too. But that woman has influence in his life like none other. So it's like when you get a man as a woman, when you get you a man, who do you have to contend with on giving him advice about life and y'all movements? What he coming to you saying? He's saying, my mama said we ought to do this. And it's because she's the first woman in his life. That's who he knew first. Now, eventually a man replaces or should replace his mother's influence with his wife, with his wife's influence. He should leave his mother's home and cleave to his wife. Leave his mother's bosom that once fed him as a baby and ravish in the bosom of his wife, as the Bible says. And so that's what a man should do. Some men never do that. Now, when a man does, it goes from his mother's influence to his woman's influence. When you talk to a man, he says, let me check with my wife. Let me check with my girl. Let me check with my woman. And when a man makes a business decision, he's bouncing it off of his woman. And this woman, because she has a different brain and she thinks differently than him, she presents an answer, a solution that he said, that sounds good. You're right. And what she can provide for him is clarity or confirmation or revelation. So I'm thinking about my podcast, and I asked my wife, I said, what should I do on the podcast? My wife is not a business person. She's not an entrepreneur. She's not a public figure. But she gave me some insight on it. I did some on audio. I said, well, I already do video on YouTube. I did some on audio, recording the podcast. I sent it to her. And I said, how you like this? She said, sounds perfect. Sounds great. I love it. She's like, yeah, you should do audio then. And so that was confirmation. And so she has influence in my life. And now it's some stuff that she may give me an answer on without the full story or without me fully explaining everything. And I may not agree with it. And then when I fully explain it, she was like, oh, well, you didn't say that. And then she's like, okay, yeah, so you should do this. It makes sense. It makes sense to do that. And then we still on one accord. But what that is that's confirmation. Some things I didn't think of and she shares it with me, that's revelation. And so listen, a woman has influence, and I need women to understand, like, stop getting mad, getting frustrated about the influence that God gave you. And just stand on your own 2 feet and be ready and willing to leave. If a man ain't doing right, leave. Like, stop putting up with it, and then you want your daddy to come talk to him. He's not going to change for your daddy. Not going to change for your brother. He's going to change for you, his woman. And he's going to change because he realizes what you will and won't put up with. And when you show him that, if he wants you, he's going to make the change. If he don't want you, he's going to keep doing it, and he's going to make you leave him. Point blank, period. You got to realize it. You got to realize it. And get that in your spirit. And so listen, when I talk to men, they say, oh, you're just doing this for money because I got courses or because I got a book. Oh, you're just doing this for money, or because they see advertisements on the video. Oh, you're just doing this for money. So even though I'm telling the truth, they're going to discount it because I earn a living teaching. Oh, this for money. Oh, you just saying this to pander to women so you can make money. And so they're not even gonna hear me. Or then they're gonna fight tooth and nail to come up with something that they could argue with. They looking to find something they could argue with because they don't want to hear what I'm saying. Or they're gonna get to where they say, oh, you a simp because you speaking up for the woman, so you a simp. Or they say you man bashing. So guess what? Let me tell you when a man hears me. Men hear me when their woman has stood up for herself and she leaves him. That's when men hear me, when she leaves him. She says, I'm done. If you want me back, you need to get some coaching. And I recommend Tony Gaskins. So the man comes to me and he says, hey, I'm hiring you because my girlfriend or my wife told me I gotta hire you. So I'm hiring you for that reason. I don't even need this. I don't even really need this. I could be a life coach. I could do what you do. That's what some of them say to me. And then some of them in the process of working with me, they're like, wow, man, this really changed my life. But he was put in that place by his woman's influence. Had she never suggested me, had she never made him hire me, he would have never done it. If she would have kept putting up with what she was putting up with what he wanted to give her, he would have never changed. But when she put her foot down and she said, listen, I'm gone, that's when he said, oh, that's when he sits down to listen. When she stood up to walk away, that's when he sat down to listen. Point blank period. You got to realize that. And so listen, y'all got to forgive me if the AC blowing into the phone, but so that's what I want you to understand, ladies. You have the influence. You have the influence. Like when I'm working with sports teams, a lot of times right before my speech, like the day before my speech, the day before I fly out to speak to the team, to do my little motivational speech to the team, my wife tell me what to say. She just be talking. She be like, now listen, this is what you need to tell them. Tell them that this right here and this right here and this right here. And I'm like, that's good now. So I get up there and I'm talking. I'm getting all the credit. They like, man, you the best speaker we done had. Man, you a real good speaker. I'm like, they gave y'all my wife message. Now, it ain't all the time, but it happens. And so that's a woman's influence. And that's what I need y'all to understand. You have more power than you think. But see, this is the thing. You don't realize it because you ignored the red flags in your last relationship. And then you end up getting your heart broke. And it made you angry. You got angry because you didn't do what you were supposed to do for you. And you want the man to do what he should have done. But he didn't do what he should have done. And you didn't do what you should have done. So you're angry. And so now you want somebody to go and reprimand the man for you. And get onto him for you. And whip him into shape for you. And tell him he's wrong for you. Tell him he's nasty. Tell him he needs to learn how to respect women. Tell him he needs to grow up. And you want somebody to deliver this message to this man for you. But not realizing is a man in his head is the alpha. A man in his head is the head, not the tail. A man in his head is the boss. So nobody really can go and deliver a message to that man other than the one he's sleeping with. Because he's going to be like, I'm not sleeping with you. I don't get nothing from you. You can't do nothing for me. You can't provide no pleasure for me. Why am I listening to you? And so he takes that approach and he's like, I'm going about my business. Like, let the one who I got to sleep with, let the one that I got to marry, let the one that I got to grow old with, let her tell me what she will and won't tolerate. And then I got to get in line or get left. And then I got to start all over again. And so that's where a woman's influence is. A man fears starting all over. A man fears being left. A man fears rejection. So if you show him that you're strong and you willing to stand on your own 2 feet and you'll stand up for yourself, now this man is like, whoa, okay, I got to do right. I got to do right because this woman gonna be gone. So ladies, listen to me. Stand up for yourself. Nobody's coming to save you. We can't save you because I can't reach him. He's not gonna follow me. Y'all forgive me. I had a yawn. I'm tired. Woke up early this morning, no reason. He's not gonna follow me. You know who he gonna follow? He's gonna follow the man. He gonna listen to the man that stroke his ego. He gonna listen to the man that hate women and that bash women and that make women feel like they don't know their role, that women out of order, women out of line, that women got to shut up, be quiet, be okay with a man cheating, and do like her great grandma did or like her grandma did. And so he's gonna follow that man because that man gonna stroke his ego. That man gonna make him feel like the prize and make the woman feel like trash. And so, but when he come to my page, it's gonna challenge him. He's gonna feel exposed when he listens to the videos that I'm talking to a woman. He's gonna feel exposed because if he's a grown boy, I'm talking about him stepping on his toes at some point, at some time, in some way. And so he's gonna feel that way. And then on top of that, he's going to, on top of feeling exposed, he's gonna feel challenged. And I'm looking him right in the eyes when I'm talking to him, so he feels challenged. He feels threatened. He also is gonna say, okay, this man is living a certain way, living a way that I'm not living. And this man is living in a way that women want a man to live. So this man is becoming my wife's dream. This man is becoming my girlfriend's dream. And although as a woman, you love him and you respect me as a man and you respect my lifestyle and you wish that he would be a respectful man and that he would live with integrity and that he would treat you like a queen, you don't want to, when you're in love with this man, you don't want to see me break up with my wife. You don't want to take me from my wife. But the man being insecure and being immature and just not knowing any better, not knowing women, believing the negative narrative about women, that women are cheaters and women can't be trusted and women all of this and that, in his mind, he's gonna say to himself, you know, yeah, she wants him. She want him to be her man. Then he gonna say, go marry him then. Go be with him then. You like everything he's saying, go be with him then. See if he'll do this and that with you. And he gets mad. He gets defensive. He feels threatened. And so that's why men rarely listen to me. So if you see a man, but see, women gonna listen to anybody who talking because women just like advice. Women like content. So it's like you could see a man online that is bashing women and talking down to women, and that man will have hundreds of thousands of women following him. But then he also will have hundreds of thousands or millions of men following him. And then people will be like, well, how do these people who are bashing women, who are talking down to women, talking bad about women, how do they get all these followers? And it's because they got women and men. Whereas the people who not talking down to women and not bashing women, we just have women followers. You look at it. You're going to see us, the ones who just talking, you know, who not bashing women, you're going to see us have less people because we honest. And because our message is not stroking a man's ego and it's going to challenge a man. is gonna call a man out if he not living right, men don't want to hear that. Men don't want to hear that. But if a woman gets the advice, get the insight, and she enacts it, she activates what she's learned, in order for him to sleep with her, he got to do right. So guess what? He gonna do right. So ladies, stop discounting your influence and understand the influence that you have, and stop passing the buck, you know, to me or other coaches to do what you can do, to do what you are capable and able to do. Like, understand this power you got, and work in and operate from it and let it work for you. It is Tony Gaston. God bless you. We'll talk soon.